Just like having relevant and accurate information is necessary to make sound hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a sponsor of The Spark.
Since 1964, Memphis Theological Seminary has worked to equip men and women of all races and faiths with the spark to do ministry for the real world. We're grateful to serve our community and proud to support WKNO.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.
Additional funding for The Spark is provided by Christian Brothers University, by Meriton, by YX Genomics, and by SERVES.
This month on The Spark, our theme is Charging Forward. We'll learn more about a nonprofit dedicated to making improvements in the areas of education, financial stability, and health for the good of our Mid-South community. An organization preparing and mobilizing leaders to work together and make a difference, and a wholesale merchant service provider and payment processing company that's also helping nonprofits grow and thrive. We'll also share a special moment from our Spark Awards 2015. Have you ever been excited by a new idea? Inspired by watching someone lead by example? When we talk about creating change, we start by sharing the stories of everyday heroes who are making a difference in their own way, so we can learn and do the same. This truth is the power behind this show, which is focused on business and community leaders that are leading by example to give back, fuel change, and create new opportunities for the Mid-South. I'm Jeremy Park, and this is The Spark. They're an organization focused on making improvements in education, financial stability, and the health of the Mid-South area. I'm here with Lori Spicer Robertson of United Way of the Mid-South. Yeah. And when you talk about United Way, very well-known brand name, but there's a lot going on here locally with United Way of the Mid-South. So give us a little bit of history, some context for United Way here locally.
Okay. So United Way is almost 100 years old. We've been around over 90 years, serving our community, trying to come up with lasting solutions to fight problems that we all know about. And the one that has grown to be the largest is poverty. It's the one area that we're really trying to address this year.
One of the things I think that makes you very unique is that you are a great collaborator, a great convener. So you have these opportunities, and we'll talk about it on the giving side, but to convene the corporations, individuals that want to make a difference, especially financially and physically, and then working with all the nonprofits, because you serve and you work with a lot of nonprofits here in the Mid-South. Yes. Talk about that rare opportunity on both sides to bring people together to fight poverty.
Yeah. So as a Catalyst nonprofit for us, it's a great position to be in. We are uniquely positioned to have these authentic relationships with government, academia, business, philanthropic organizations, other nonprofits, and individuals who really want to come together to see lasting change in our community. And so what we do is have a process through our allocations of how we can give dollars to these nonprofits. Over 79 nonprofits is who we serve and who we work with as partners. And so doing that together in collaboration is what we're working to do.
And so when you talk about these 79 partners, these nonprofits, talk about that partnership, because obviously it's financial, but it's also strategic as well. So give us an idea, dive in a little bit deeper to those 79 nonprofits and the work you do with them. Okay.
So with our refined focus around poverty, we really wanted to assess our nonprofits and say, how do we come together and really see collective impact in a larger scale? How do we assess our programming that we've done in years prior with our agency partners to say, what do we need to do to move the needle on poverty? And this year they rounded up together at the table and said, we are on board. We want to be a part of that change. And we want to make sure that as we refine our programming, that we work with you to do that.
Talk about the other side, working with corporations, because I think it's also a neat opportunity, one, to raise those needed dollars, but also, two, to raise the awareness of how important these issues are. So talk about working on the other side.
So most people know United Way as an organization that does campaigning, and we work with our corporate partners to do workplace giving campaigns. But one thing that we're really looking at this year is year-round engagement. Yes, we have corporate partners, over 420 corporate partners who work with us to collect dollars through payroll deduction with their employees, but also they want to be more engaged. We're all about giving, advocating, and volunteering. So they want their employees to be out in the community, increasing their corporate social responsibility, and working with our partner agencies to do that.
So obviously we're in December, we're in the holiday mode, so financial giving goes hand in hand with that to be able to help.
Yes.
But also planning for 2017. So what would you tell companies, individuals, in terms of partnering and working through United Way to be able to really make the most good? What advice would you share?
So if you think about United Way, we are a convener. We're an organization that believes in being a catalyst for all the different partners that we work with in the organization. And so when you think about, how do I campaign, how do I help raise dollars, you do a greater good when you partner with United Way, because we have an unveiled process where we review all of our nonprofits. We make sure that they have results-driven programming that truly address the needs of our community. And this year that need is bigger than ever. It's poverty. We have over 1 million people who live in poverty, over 46.9% of children in our community who live in poverty. And as you think about the holiday season, we encourage more people to give individually, but also as corporate partners.
So talk about the easy way, especially when you look at year-round giving. You mentioned payroll deductions, a big part of that. How do they sign up? How do they get involved? What's that first step?
So on our website, www.uwmidsouth.org, there is a donate button, and anyone can go there and donate and make contributions. That can be $1, that could be $5 a week. It's up to you to decide. We don't want to turn anyone away because every dollar counts. There's always the amount that you can give to change someone else's life.
Where can we learn more? How can we get involved? How can we give through United Way? Our time, our resources, all the above.
Yes, we want time, talent, and treasure. And as we think about our website, which again is www.uwmidsouth.org, we also want to share that we're going through a rebranding process. And we wanted to say United Way is a historic organization, but what could we do differently? What could we do more? And why do we want people to be involved in United Way now and today? And so we're doing a brand audit, going through that phase so that new year comes out in 2017, we have a whole new image to roll out to this organization so they feel like they can buy into this narrative and be a part of who we are.
Well, I absolutely love everything you're doing here in the Mid-South and for coming on the show and sharing.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it.
They're an organization preparing and mobilizing leaders to work together and make a difference right here in the Mid-South. I'm here with the president and CEO of Leadership Memphis, David Williams. And when you talk about Leadership Memphis here, you're doing a lot, and that's what we're going to have fun talking about, is a lot of the good you're doing. But let's start with some context. Give us a little bit of history for Leadership Memphis.
Leadership Memphis started back in the late 70s, and for 38 years now, this is our 38th year, we have been working to prepare and mobilize leaders to work together for the good of the whole community.
Nice. And you do that through a number of programs. Let's start with the leadership programs, because you have everything from seasoned executives to crossing guards and everything in between. So every level, every age, you're helping them to become a catalyst. But start with some of the programs overall.
Sure. Well, we have our executive program, which is, as you said, for senior executives. We have our Fast Track program, which is a shorter type of a program, but it's for those up-and-coming middle management type leaders. We have our Grassroots program, which is for neighborhood advocates. You mentioned crossing guards. It's those people who have their sleeves rolled up and they're just doing great work in the community, but they're often underappreciated, underrecognized. And then we have a new program that we introduced last year, which is our criminal juvenile justice program for people who work within the criminal juvenile justice system. So those four kind of form our leadership program continuum.
And one of the things that's very different, there's obviously a lot of self-reflection, there's the personal leadership, but a lot of this is really geared around collaboration, immersing them into projects, in many cases working with schools. And so it's very hands-on on how do we come together and not only become better leaders and more successful and more in tune with who we are, but really more importantly, how do we spread that out and get more people involved and become a real catalyst? So that's my take on it, but describe, when you talk about the programs, Give us a little bit more detail on the structure.
Right, so we don't train you to be a leader. We take people who are leaders, whether they're very formal leaders or informal leaders in the community. We take them and help them learn more about what the community is about, what's happening in the community, who's doing what, how they might want to think a little differently here or a little differently there, get different perspectives, and when you put all that together, they come out hopefully a more effective community leader. They can make more of an impact on our community.
Talk about just numbers, because obviously with each class you're graduating more and more leaders, and so when you look at, you don't necessarily have to give us a specific number, but how many would you say are alums of Leadership Memphis at this point?
It's over 3,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
So carry that over. I think it's a natural transition when you talk about becoming leaders, getting involved, rolling up your sleeves, over into Volunteer Memphis. And so activation, a big part of that is what you do through Volunteer Memphis. Describe Volunteer Memphis as it relates to Leadership Memphis.
Volunteer Memphis is the city's volunteer center, volunteer hub, and we want to take, and if we think about preparing and mobilizing leaders to work together for the good of the whole community, sometimes there's a community leader, and a community leader I think of as someone who is critically thinking and trying to understand issues and how to solve them in our community. But there are also volunteers and volunteer leaders. Just those, sometimes it's the extra pair of hands or someone who can lead a group of leaders to accomplish, a group of volunteers to accomplish something that needs to be done. It might be something small, it might be something big, but they're making a difference by helping.
Talk about kind of that central nervous system of volunteer, that volunteer hub aspect, and how important that is for our whole city.
Whether it's an individual or a family or a team of employees at a company or a company, there are all these people that want to make a difference, and how do they do that? Where do they start? Many people know, and that's fine. But for those that don't know, or for those that need a little additional guidance, or they want to try something new, they can go right to that website and they can find the volunteer opportunities. Likewise, the volunteer organizations or the nonprofit organizations can list their volunteer opportunities right there on the website. So they find each other. They find each other so that they can make a difference.
I want to talk about, before we run out of time though, Graduate Memphis. You're heavily involved in education. You even have a resource center where people can go to get free help. Talk about Graduate Memphis.
Graduate Memphis is a college resource center. It's located at the Benjamin Hooks branch of the public library. Anybody can go there and get help about how do I go back to college, how do I go to college. We have free advisors that are there to help them figure out their pathway back to get a post-secondary certificate or degree.
Give us a little bit more detail on the hands involved in terms of Graduate Memphis.
Right, well, one of the big things is FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. And if you're gonna get a student loan or you're gonna get a Pell Grant, whatever you're gonna get as far as financial assistance, you have to have one of those completed. And our staff is leading the community-wide effort to try to increase and boost the number of students who complete and submit their FAFSA form.
So where would you direct viewers to get involved? Obviously a lot of the programs, but where would you direct them to learn more about Leadership Memphis and all the many ways to get involved in our city?
Well, it's really, really easy. There's leadershipmemphis.org, volunteermemphis.org, and graduatememphis.org.
Well, I greatly appreciate all you're doing here in the Mid-South and for coming on the show and sharing.
Thank you, Jerry.
Each year, the Spark Awards culminate in the Legacy Award, given to an outstanding individual to honor a career in public service. The 2015 Legacy Award winner was Barbara King of the Exchange Club Family Center, who spent nearly 3 decades growing and strengthening that organization to continue its mission to help families affected by violence in the Mid-South.
The very first day that I walked into the Exchange Club Center, it was inside of a bank building with absolutely no signage. And I got there and it was a very small area, very small staff, 3 offices, and they were there to prevent child abuse. Well, 3 staff members in a small office was not going to obviously make that big of a dent. So I walked in knowing this has got to change. This has got to grow. We've got to educate people about this and provide the services these families need. They need to know where they can come for help. First big challenge was to make us stable financially. There were issues along that line. And the second was to find us another place to provide these services. It was not safe. It was not client friendly in that area, and I knew we needed extra space if we were going to grow. So I set about finding, in addition to educating the community on who we were, which I spent probably 90% of my time on, we had to find another place to be. It's been really good for me and good for all the staff and the community to see how much we do in one spot. The fact that we can have all of our programs under one roof is very advantageous to working with these clients. If they come into one program and they learn to trust us and know that we care about them and we're not the bad guys, they are much more likely to go into another program such as anger management or parenting classes or whatever, where they would probably not take the time to go to 5 different places and fill out paperwork in 5 different places. And so it's been very advantageous for us.
Did you know, or did you have in mind the programs that you wanted to bring in, or was that by, I don't want to say by accident, but was it one of those where you strategically went out to create these partnerships to align based on where you wanted to go, or did it kind of just evolve?
It was somewhat of a learning process for me as well. I knew basically what needed to be done, but it did evolve in the fact that if we're going to affect this part of a child's life or this adult victim's life, we've got to attack that problem as well. And so it's kind of just exponentially grown in that process. There's some things I knew we needed to do, but obviously that's where the staff has come in, and it's really been from the ground up. They tell me what's needed, and so we try to provide that if possible.
And talk about your support network, because obviously having the team is critical, but you also have you have the board, you have the Exchange Club groups. I mean, talk about where your support comes from.
Support primarily, obviously, is from the staff and the excellent job that they do and how well trained and experienced they are. And then also we've always had a very active board, very committed members who, in addition to raising funds, are very interested and passionate about this issue. We have a lot of volunteers. Some of those obviously come from the Exchange Club Family Center volunteer group that helps with galas and does different things like that. And we also use Exchange Club members as volunteers. And at this point in time, there's 5 Exchange Club centers in Shelby County. So we get them from a variety of places. We've actually had clients who come back and volunteer several times.
Well, going from 3 to 50 to basically one program to 20, touching 5,000 people a year, what makes you the most proud? When you look at the legacy, 23 years at the Exchange Club Family Center, what makes you proud of your legacy?
The families we've seen and the staff. I mean, their interaction and what they've accomplished. And I know we've made a difference. I know the numbers are horrific in this community. But I know we've touched everyone that we've had a chance to touch. And the community is better educated. There's lots more to do in that arena, but they are better educated, and particularly in the fact that children who witness domestic violence are also abused emotionally, terribly abused. It makes me so proud to drive by that building and to see all of those people working together for these children who are so vulnerable. I could not do this on my own, certainly, but I have an avenue through this to really make a difference. That really drew me to it. I knew so much has to be done, and how am I going to do that myself? I couldn't, so.
With the theme of charging forward, it's appropriate and fun to have someone here that helps keep our credit card transactions safe and secure, but makes it extremely easy, whether we're online or out at events, to take credit cards and to process them and to get payment. So Chris Reckert with ePayment America, President and CEO. I gave a little bit of a teaser, but obviously ePayment America, you do so much when it comes to keeping our payments safe and secure, but allowing us to go out and get the credit card transactions on Facebook, everywhere. So that's my version, but give us your version when you describe ePayment America.
Well, you know, Jeremy, we try to keep it simple, safe, and easy to use. So You know, it's very complex for people on the outside. For us, we try to make it simple. And so merchants can take advantage of it at a low cost, and also that they feel their transactions are secure.
And so you're talking about businesses, obviously the credit card swiping machines. On the back end, you've got the ability for Facebook, and we'll talk about YappyZelle in a second, but you have pretty much anywhere where you can take a credit card, that's where you exist.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this for over 25 years. Started at MasterCard, was with a great company here in Memphis called Concord EFS, and then I started, after we were bought out, I started ePayment America almost 10 years ago now. And really what it is to take my 25 years of experience working with Fortune 500 companies and bringing it to small to medium-sized businesses, also community banks, because they don't have the resources to invest in keeping up with all this technology. So that's really my job, and that's ePayment's job. And I'd like to call us the kinder and gentler processor.
Nice, but as you alluded to, it's all technology. It's being able to simplify, it's being able to engage, but ultimately make it safe and secure. And so talk about kind of the PCI compliance and the security side of ePayment America.
Well, I think the biggest thing to talk about is we have to be sensitive to merchants and their cash flow, because they don't like surprises. No one likes surprises. So when you have PCI compliance, the new thing now is EMV. You know, those things, what a lot of people don't understand is that's going to have an impact on their cash flow. And they have to know what they have to invest in, what they can put off, quite frankly, till next year. So again, we have a very consultative approach that we want to make them secure, but we're never going to oversell them. You know, I'm not in the equipment business. I'm not going to sell them oversell them. I'm in the transaction business. I want to make it as easy for them to be able to swipe transactions, because when they swipe transactions, they're going to sell more, they're going to make more money.
Talk about YappyZelle, because this is a game changer, especially through Facebook, because you have the ability to sell. We sell our book, Giving for Growth, right through the website, but Facebook, and they never leave. So in other words, they interact directly through Facebook, through YappyZelle, through this app, and you can sell anything.
Well, you know, I like to kid my people and say I have a good idea every 20 years. 20 years ago, working at MasterCard, I was challenged with fraud at pay at the pump. And some people out there may not like this to know that I'm the guy who, now if you go to the pump and you put in your zip code, I came up with that idea over 20 years ago. So I see a problem, I try to fix it. Back in 2008, when the economy was really hurting, and I looked at our customers and said, how can I help them? So over the past few years, since then, I came up with YappyZelle. YappyZelle, I like to, it's very simple. I find the best ideas are to keep them simple. So it really just allows someone like yourself, like you do, Jeremy, take your book and say, listen, I think I have a great book. How can I get distribution, but I don't have the funds of a Fortune 500 company? Well, guess what? Take that book, post it to your Facebook page, talk about it. I might be in a hotel room in Japan and see that post, click on that buy button. That book could be to me the next day.
And that's perfect for nonprofits too, obviously. They can leverage this to be able to take donations, to sell their goods.
Well, the beauty with nonprofits is, think about it, a lot of nonprofits, when they work with companies, and when I started to investigate this, I didn't realize this, a lot of those companies take a lot of the profit from the nonprofit. With YappyZelle, the beauty is they're going to get all the profit. We don't take any piece of that donation.
That's huge. So tell viewers where they can learn more about ePayment America, but also to YappyZelle.
Well, ePaymentAmerica.com, YappyZelle.com. I'm going to leave you also with a very exciting next phase of YappyZelle is ticketing. You now will be able to sell tickets off your Facebook page.
Oh, wow.
And we have already had a couple of folks we've worked with, and especially people who have young children, and they found out there was an event that was going to have some different characters of a certain play or something. Their events sold out in a matter of an hour.
Wow.
Because of the social media impact.
Well, and even for nonprofits host events, I mean, think about them being able to leverage this technology.
Correct. Well, think about it. Whenever you give whenever you give a presentation, how powerful it is just say, hey, if you want to buy or donate, visit our Facebook page. Visit our Facebook page. You'll see a buy button. If you like what we're doing, share it with your friend. Think of that exponential growth of a chance to be able to sell your product. And also, the key also is the likes on your Facebook page. You want to turn those likes into dollars. It doesn't. I always give the example of, it's like going to New York and going to Saks Fifth Avenue, and you're with your wife, and you or your wife sees an item and you say, oh, we really want to buy that, and you go to open the door and you can't open it, and it says, oh, go down five blocks to buy that. there's a lot to distract you in those 5 blocks. You'll never buy it. With Yappy's Al, like it, buy it. It's that simple.
Well, make sure to check out ePayment America, Yappy's Al. Greatly appreciate all you do, Chris, and for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Hard to believe, but this wraps up our 4th season and year with the Spark. It's been an honor to highlight and celebrate the efforts of almost 150 organizations and individuals who are doing so much good here in our community, and to share how easy it can be to get involved, volunteer, and make a difference. Now we're charging forward into 2017, and just like we saw in this month's episode, there's work to be done, but many who are stepping up to lead the way. United Way of the Mid-South is mobilizing stakeholders from across our city and aligning community resources to address poverty through its focus on education, financial stability, and health and safety. Leadership Memphis is developing community leaders at every level, from seasoned professionals to emerging talent to frontline leaders. And they're making it easy for all of us to plug in and take action through their Graduate Memphis, Volunteer Memphis, and Success High Schools initiatives. Companies like ePayment America are not only making it easy for local businesses to grow and thrive, but for nonprofits to raise awareness and increase contributions as well. So as we're charging forward into 2017, thank you for continuing to watch The Spark and for doing good here in our community. To learn more about each of the guests and to share your stories of others leading by example, visit WKNO.org and click on the link for The Spark. We look forward to seeing you next month, and we hope that you'll join with us in creating a spark for the Mid-South. Merry Christmas.
Just like having relevant and accurate information is necessary to make sound hiring and lending decisions, being engaged in our community is important. DataFax is proud to support the positives and be a sponsor of The Spark.
Since 1964, Memphis Theological Seminary has worked to equip men and women of all races and faiths with the spark to do ministry for the real world. We're grateful to serve our community and proud to support WKNO.
Lipscomb & Pitts Insurance has been serving the Mid-South since 1954. We've always focused on supporting our community and believed in promoting the positives, encouraging engagement, and leading by example. Lipscomb & Pitts is proud to be a presenting sponsor of The Spark.